year, new market here in Northeast Florida. Well, we've got the January data and we're going to take a look today. And really interesting. January is always an anomaly of a month just because we're coming into a new year. A lot of deals get closed in December. So we're going to do a quick breakdown of what we saw in January of 2025. Mike Rolowitz here, 904 Home Guide team with the Real Brokerage in Jacksonville Beach. And the biggest story coming into 2025 seems to be the same big story that we had all of 2024, and that's inventory rise. And boy, we see it a lot this month. So before we get to median price, you'll see here on the graphs on the side here, new listings spiked 54% from December, and they're up 40% from this time last year. New listings, meaning new homes hitting the market. What'd that do to our active inventory? Well, it's up 71% from January of last year when we started this steady climb, and up 16% from December. So about 5,600 single-family homes in Duval and St. Johns County. What does that equate to when we look at month supply of inventory? Well, in December, closed sales fell off a cliff, down 40% from December. You may recall from our December recap, a lot of deals close in December. Sometimes builders are closing out inventory for homes that may have honestly sold months earlier, but to get them recognized for their book, sometimes they wait. So again, this number can be a bit misleading, but only 854 closed sales in January, which is historically a slow month. It's usually one of our slower months for closings, but month supply of inventory is defined, and you'll see the formula here. We take the closed sales, we divide it by the active inventory to say how long would it take for the existing inventory to sell off if no new listings come on the market. Right now we're at 6.6 months of supply. That's a flashing red sign that we're headed towards a buyer's market unless something reverses itself in February, which would be more sales or a lower number of new listings. What we're seeing is a lot of sellers that were waiting to the new year that typically would maybe wait till March, April are saying, let's get ahead of that. Let's see if we can't beat the spring selling season. So we're seeing more of those new listings come up. Homes are sitting on the market a little bit longer. Median days, 49 days on market right now. Again, indicative of a buyer's market. The 6.6 months of inventory essentially doubled from December. We were at 3.3 months last month, and we're up 80% from January of last year. So if we look at the median sales price, not surprisingly, it slid back a little bit from December, down 5%. We're still up from last year. And historically and seasonally, and we're going to touch on some more seasonality next month, that number typically that number typically falls in January. It's usually our low point of the year. Typically, we rise through the spring, peak in the summer, fall in the fall a little bit. So what does all this mean? If you're a seller, it means pricing is now even more critical. Our average list to sold slid down to 96%. The homes that sell in the first 30 days, though, are still holding tight and averaging about 97% list to sold ratio. So the homes that are priced right are the ones that are selling inside of that 49 days on market, and they're selling closer to list. The longer a listing sits, the more it's getting punished. There are more choices for buyers. If we look historically, not a sign for panic yet. Our market in Northeast Florida, typically prices don't fall until inventory is well over 8 months. So we're not there yet. Interest rates are still hovering around 7. That is going to do what it did in 2024. It's going to lower that transaction count. So that 854 sales being down 41%, that's the result of higher interest rates. And probably buyers not as active during that holiday season. We're definitely seeing them coming back out in force. We've had some really busy open houses. We've had listing of ours go under contract in the first weekend. We've had buyers involved in bidding wars up to $2+ million price points. So the market's starting to show its robustness. I think the spring market's coming a little bit early. With that said, I'm really going to be looking at that closed sale number and where that month's supply of inventory goes in February. But for now, we're in the definition of a buyer's market. We've gone north of that 6 months of inventory, that balance at 4 to 6. So stay tuned for February. Thanks as always for watching. Drop a comment if you have thoughts on where the market's going. We'll see you next month.